Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina, and welcome to the Sunday night live stream show. Thanks for tuning in and hanging out with us tonight. Hopefully you're ready for a good time. I know I am, and I always appreciate hanging out with you guys and having a good time doing our Sunday night live stream show. We're going to be talking about fishing, what's going on now, what's coming up, what's biting. We're going to go over the weather. We're going to answer your questions live during the show and make some announcements too. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show. Remember, this is every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. So don't forget to tell your friends, hang out and tune in and watch the entire show live with us. Also, want to make sure we start out by giving a shout out to our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. If you haven't stopped by to see our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle, you are missing out. Huge deals, killer selection, stuffed to the gills with tons of tackles. Stop by and see our friends at Gator Jim's Tackle today. Again, that's 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete, and tell them Hubbard's Marina sent you. Always a big warm welcome to our friends over there at Gator Jim's Tackle for helping to make this show possible. Definitely appreciate all those guys over there at Gator Jim's. Also want to make sure we tell you how to win free trips. Hopefully you're excited about the opportunity to win $1,500 in free fishing trips. That's right, every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. this show happens for an hour, and we talk about what's going on, what's coming up, and more, and we give away $1,500 in free fishing trips. A 5-hour half day for 2 guests, a 10-hour all day for 2 guests, and a 39-hour fishing trip for 1 lucky winner. All you have to do in order to be able to win a free fishing trip is watch the entire show live, comment 1 time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook live stream, then stay tuned live for the entire show, because at random intervals we're going to do those giveaways. You'll see your name appear on the screen, and I will announce your name live during the show. And then you have 5 minutes to text us at the phone number on the screen in order to claim the free trip. So you enter by watching the entire show live and commenting once on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream, and you claim your free trip winning by texting us at the phone number on the screen within 5 minutes to prove you're watching live. So watch the entire show live, comment once, then text us if you're picked as one of the lucky winners within 5 minutes. That's how you enter, that's how you claim it, that's how it works. Also, I want to make sure we always start out by giving a shout out to those who are sending stars. The stars are a way to help us to fuel the live stream show and continue to do what we do over here on Sunday nights. So we always appreciate all our star senders. Jeff Reedy with a big 1,200 stars kicking us off right. LaShonda Brown with a big 500. We had Stephen Batchelor with a big 500. Barry Long with a big 500. Larry White with the big 500 as well. Appreciate you also. Mick Higgins, John Bull. We had Richard Blazak and Scott Flynn as well. Appreciate all the stars getting us kicked off right tonight on this beautiful Sunday, July, what day is it? 6th? 7th? 6th. July 6th. Congratulations. I know what day it is. It's been a long weekend. Definitely a long weekend. And definitely been a little bit nautical out there, but things are looking up. We're going to talk about the weather here very shortly. But first, as always, we like to start out by telling you how to enter, give a shout out to our friends at Gator Jim's, talk about the star senders. Then we always like to remind you guys to comment on the live stream show. If you're watching on Instagram, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, it helps us to reach more people if you interact. So like the live stream, comment on the live stream. Don't forget to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube and turn on those notifications. Adam Franklin, appreciate those 500 stars, buddy. Also, with that, we always like to show you what we're catching now. Starting off, showing you inshore photos, then we work our way a little bit deeper and show you what we're catching near shore and off. So first things first, let's start off inshore and show you guys what is happening on the inshore side of things. Mangrove snapper are prolific around the area. Docks, piers, bridges, jetties, rock piles. We're seeing a lot of mangrove snapper. The black drum are also showing up in pretty good force along our beautiful beaches, jetties, bridges, dock lines. We're seeing a pretty good redfish action throughout the area. Definitely some strong redfish bites throughout the area around our mangrove shorelines, grass flats, oyster bars. We're seeing a few on the beaches and around the pass, but a lot of these fish are up in the bay. All that rain brought those fish up in the bay. I do want to comment real quickly. Our buddy Scott, he was on the show a few shows ago. You guys heard from Scott and his snook secrets. But not only is he a crazy snook fisherman, but look at these photos he sends us. I was astounded this week. He sent me this photo, and this was the morning that the storms rolled through. So the storms rolled through, and then we had a nice sunrise, and just not only a beautiful fish, but a great photo. And then you had this photo the next day with the storms looming in the background, and another beautiful stud fish by our buddy Scott, and then sunny blue skies the next day. It's so funny. Scott has sent a litany of photos this week with lots of great fish and different assorted weather, from sunrise to storms to sunny blue skies. It was pretty comical. Some nice action on the snook around the Johns Pass Bridge. Our buddy John and his friends and cohorts are catching them up underneath the Johns Pass Bridge. Definitely more and more snook are showing up. This morning the snook were finally thick around the docks, which was cool to see again. Scott with another beautiful photo and even more beautiful snook out there on the beach. Definitely a lot of snook around the beaches, passes, docks. We're seeing more and more of them. Of course, around the passes, cuts, inlets, we're seeing a lot of snook out on the beaches and around the islands and around the bridge too. Some tarpon action has been prolific. A lot of tarpon around. Some big fat trout out on the beach and around the pass and around the islands and around the dock lights and bridge lights at night too. So cool to see the trout so prolific and still continuing to bite really well despite the warmer weather. That's about it. Inshore, on the Inshore side of things. Angie, darling, appreciate those 1,000 stars. Thank you so much. Let's work our way a little deeper. Show you guys what we're catching out there on the nearshore and offshore side of things. Definitely some big fat red grouper as of late. We're seeing some nice red grouper action. This was a big fat keeper on our 10-hour all day. We're seeing some catch and release gags. Our buddy Diogo Yamada from Fisherman's Hut there came out on a 39-hour trip with our friend Tim Duncan, and Diogo and Tim put on a clinic with the slow pitch jigs, catching a lot of really nice fish. Scamp grouper action has been pretty steady. Not a ton of them, but we've been seeing some really nice ones. Some big fat mangrove snapper doing real well on the mangroves from the 12-hour extreme to the 39. Definitely seeing some good steady mangrove snapper action. Some more 10-hour all-day keeper red grouper. We're not seeing a litany of red grouper on the 10-hour, but we're definitely seeing a keeper here and there, which is cool to see. Most of the big fat red grouper are coming up on our 12-hour extreme, 39-hour, 44-hour, and those long-range private fishing charters. But we are still seeing a few of those red grouper near shore on the 10-hour trip, which is exciting. And definitely some nice mutton, some big fat red snapper, some red grouper, and you can see some of the beautiful weather we dealt with this week in the background there. Some more fish from a 39-hour adventure. Definitely some solid red snapper. The 39-hour trip that came in this morning probably had one of the strongest average sizes that we've seen in a while. This morning's jackpot weigh-in from that Friday 39-hour trip, there was probably at least 12 to 15 red snapper weighed in that were between 18 to 20 pounds. Crazy the amount of really big fish that we saw on this last 39-hour trip. So as the season has progressed, the red snapper fishing has only gotten better, which is really, really cool to see. There's our friend Diogo Yamada with a nice red snapper on the SPJ, the slow pitch jigs. Big fat red snapper from the 39-hour trip. Definitely some good ones going on out there in the deep. We're seeing some solid fish. It's a good time to get out there and do some catching with us. Remember, red snapper season goes all the way through end of day, September 15th. So we got a lot of opportunities left. Beautiful scamp grouper there. Some kingfish action. We saw wahoo this week. So some pelagics are still fired up as well, which is cool to see. Definitely exciting to see the pelagic bite and the reef fish bite so strong. Let's get into the weather side of things and talk to you guys a little bit about what's going on weather-wise. We're definitely out of this trend that we had this past week of all that bad weather. We've been seeing quite a few storms this past week, but now it's getting better and better and better. So let's hop on over there to the Hubbard's Marina Facebook or Hubbard's Marina website page. And on the website page, we're going to go ahead and look at fishing trips and then click weather links, and under the weather links we're going to see the 5 and 10 hour forecast, and you can see the weather is getting really nice this week. Absolutely beautiful through most of the work week and through the weekend. Potentially the 14th, 15th we might see a little bit of weather, but the forecast has gotten better since this morning and we'll show you why. But today, pretty nice out there today. Tomorrow is even better. The rain chances going away. Still a little overcast tomorrow, but rain chances are severely diminished, which is good to see. Winds are also calming down. Tuesday, look at that. Absolutely no wind. Very, very, very low rain chance. Wednesday, no wind at all. It's really looking good this week as far as the winds are concerned. As we get into the weekend, rain chances go up a little bit, but not terribly. And looking real nice all the way through the week. So it is summertime. It is going to be the lake of the Gulf this week for sure. So definitely very calm, very moderate, and very beautiful. But I'll pop on over here to the weather links page again. And once we're on the weather links page, we're going to hit the ultimate storm forecast, spaghettimodels.com, and check this out. This is what potentially might mess us up a little bit here later in this coming up weekend and following this coming up weekend. Let's go to Western Atlantic, change this over to precipitation was the word I was looking for. So this is Monday. You can see not a lot of rain chance. Let me change this so you can see it even better, because we don't really care about the Western Atlantic. We're looking specifically at southeast. So there you go. You can see Florida a little bit better. So this is Monday. Looking pretty nice out there through the day. Monday, not a lot of rain around. Tuesday, looking pretty nice Tuesday. Maybe a little bit of chance Tuesday, but not much. Wednesday is looking really nice as well. And then as we get later into the work week, you see this frontal boundary start to kind of push down into the area. Thursday still looks good for us all the way through day Thursday. And then into Friday, that frontal boundary builds. And still nothing Friday. So all the way through Friday looks pretty good. But that frontal boundary kind of stalls out. And that's what's bringing the rain chance higher over this upcoming weekend, Saturday and into Sunday. Really, this rain kind of hangs around. So Saturday, Sunday. And you can see this little spinner out here, that stalled front potentially might form something off the North Carolina, kind of northeast coast of the United States. So nothing for us to worry about, but that could potentially spin us back some rain. And that's what's increasing the possibility of rain chances through the weekend and into the coming work week. There's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we might see a little bit more rain and weather, potentially, possibly, this upcoming weekend. Saturday, Sunday is a little elevated. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays could potentially be even a little bit more elevated. But like I said, it's really early. A lot of times these forecasts change, so it's something for us to keep an eye on. But we know tomorrow is getting better, and then really looks good Tuesday through Friday. Looks great Tuesday through Friday. And even this weekend doesn't look bad. It just chance of rain goes up a little bit. That's about it. So nothing crazy, but we are going to enjoy a drier, warmer week and get back to a little bit of normal, super calm Gulf water. So super excited about that. All right. Now, we talked about the weather and we talked about what we're catching now. Let's get into some of our announcements, and then we're going to get into your questions. Remember, if you have a question you want answered live during the show, if you have a topic you want discussed, if you have a burning desire to say hello or anything like that, drop it in a text message at the phone number at the bottom of the screen. Richard Harcourt, appreciate that. I don't even know what you call that on YouTube, Josh. What's that called?
Super.
A super. All right, it's not a star. It's a super on YouTube. Appreciate you, Richard Harcourt. Jason Richmond, appreciate your stars on Facebook as well. All right, so first things first, red snapper update. Remember, red snapper season goes all the way through end of day, September 15th. So super excited that we have so much more red snapper season left. Virtually 2.5 more months of our red snapper season. And every year it's the same. And it's even worse this year. Everybody freaks out about red snapper. They can't wait. And red snapper season's finally open. And they get so excited. And everybody comes out in June. And then once July rolls around, people are like, red snapper. The numbers start to drop off. We get lighter and lighter loads. And then by August, people are like, red snapper. Literally, we have August trips that are like half full. And then come September, red snapper season ends September 15th and gag season opens September 1st. So the first 2 weeks of September are like the first 2 weeks of June. Well, pretty much sold out already. So the first 2 weeks of September is crazy, but all of August, super light loads, and July are pretty light too. So I want to show you this here real quick. So here is our booking screen. Kind of hard to see, so I'll talk you through it. So today's 39-hour trip left the dock with 25 people. Tuesday's 39-hour trip only has 40 people. Friday's 44 has 40 people. Next weekend, Sunday the 13th, only 25 people booked. So July 13th, only 25 people booked. The last Sunday in July only has 34 people booked. The last Tuesday in July only has 29 people booked. So there's multiple red snapper trips in July that are less than half full, less than 50% full. So lots of light load opportunities. And then in July, these other trips, the other Tuesday trips are 35, 40. Friday trips are always going to be more busy. So almost all of the Friday trips are still in the mid 40s, mid to upper 40s. But watch as we move into August. The Friday trips in August, 35, 30 people, 21 people on a Friday trip, August 29th. So light loads in even the Friday trips. The Tuesday trips in August, 19 people, 22 people. So super light loads on Tuesday trips in August. Sunday trips in August, we've got 16 people on the 3rd. We're going. That's enough to go. We've got 15 people on the 10th. We're going. That's enough to go. So super incredible light loads. Sunday, August 3rd, Sunday, August 10th, Sunday, August 17th, only 23 people going. So less than half full, like 30% full on Sunday trips, only about 50% full, 40 to 50% full on Tuesday trips, and then Friday trips are at like maybe 30 to 40% full in August. So super, super light load. Look at these extreme trips in August. 6 people, 7 people, 4 people, 2 people. So there's a super, super light load trip for you for red snapper, because I think a lot of people are confused that they think red snapper for private recreational anglers are only open June and July, and then they're closed in August, and then they reopen the first 2 weeks of September. So I think a lot of people are confused, not realizing that for federally permitted for-hire boats like Hubbard's Marina, red snapper season is still open in August. And we get those Kubera snapper opportunities, and with less people, you're going to have more flatlining opportunities. We see some wahoo then. That's the start of that fall push of that current. So a lot of times we'll get some of that loop current action, so we'll see more pelagics. I'm excited. August is going to be a great month to go out there and crush the fish and not have all those people on the boat. More elbow room. So, wanted to make sure I emphasize that to you guys. Plus, I wanted to showcase again our online store. If you go to hubbardsmarina.com, once you're at hubbardsmarina.com, right on our website, right on our homepage or any page of our website, you can click shop. When you click shop, it brings you to our new online store. We've got tons of new gear on the online store, lots of new shirts. We've got our new Don's Dock shirt. We've got a cool new design for our Off the Hook shirt. So if you enjoy our Sunday night live stream show, you can get a shirt with the Off the Hook Sunday night live stream logo, which is right behind me on the wall. So lots of new apparel on our online store. If you haven't checked it out yet, it is pretty darn cool. I really like this Hogfish shirt. It's one of my favorite shirts that we have. It is really cool. Plus, we've got tons of shot glasses, we've got tackle, we've got lures, we've got slow pitch jigging stuff, we've got reels, we've got rods, we've got tons of opportunities for cool stuff on the online store. So definitely stop by and check out the Hubbard's Marina online store, because there is a ton of stuff. If you're too busy to come on down to Hubbard's Marina, you can always stop by the online store and get you something special right on the website, and we'll send it to your house, which makes real easy. So check out the new and improved online store. Our team has been working so hard on it. We want to make sure we shouted that out, because there's been a lot of effort put into that online store for sure. What's that name on YouTube down there, right corner, Josh? Is it just the Bucks? Appreciate the super, the Bucks. I think that's all the name is. No, the Buckasani. Appreciate you on YouTube for that super. All right, so with that, let's get into your questions. So if you have a question, topic, something you want covered live during the show, drop it in a text message to the phone number on the bottom of the screen. Josh is pulling up the questions now, and before we get into the questions, the first thing we got to do is do our first giveaway of the night. Remember, we've got a 5-hour half day for 2, a 10-hour all day for 2, and a 39-hour to give away. Remember, you have to watch 2 guests. Let's see who won the 10-hour all day for 2 guests. Congratulations, Tom. You got the 10-hour all day for 2 guests. Very, very exciting. You got 5 minutes or less to text us your home address, Tom, and we'll send you out that free trip certificate. All right, let's get into the questions and see what's going on question-wise, and we'll get rolling on that. Once we get them to pop up here, again, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. I don't know if I mentioned that yet tonight. We're trying to build that YouTube, and we're very excited, working really hard on that for sure. Hopefully you remember to vote as well. We have the Best of Florida voting open, and that's still going on, so hopefully you have a chance to catch that as well. All right, first question of the night. What is the final rule, or that first page, Josh? Let's grab that second question on the first page. Taylor there. All right, what was the final length on gag grouper season? Gag grouper season was not quite finalized yet, but I did talk to our friends over at National Marine Fisheries Service and the Southeast Regional Office, and they made it abundantly clear it is scheduled to be finalized this week. So hopefully we are going to see the final gag grouper season announcement come out this week. Remember, gags are going to open September 1st, and they're going to be open from 14 to 20 days. So we're expecting about 14 to 20 days on gag grouper season, but we know it's going to open September 1st, and we're hoping that it's going to be open for at least 14 days, but maybe up to 20. Again, that should be finalized this week. So hopefully, that's what I was told at least. As far as amberjack season goes, amberjack season is scheduled to open September and October. That is the projected opportunity. So I don't know. We saw amberjack season potentially not opening at all because unfortunately last year they're claiming that there was an overage on the amberjack quota of, I think it was like 250% they said, which is crazy. So very, very frustrating to see that, but hopefully they'll get that fixed up, turned around, and we'll be able to see amberjack season actually happen. But we were told it was going to be September and October. So we'll see if they actually make a season happen. I don't know. Have we crashed on Facebook completely?
Facebook is down.
Facebook is down. YouTube is still up, though.
YouTube is still up. I'm going to try to work on getting Facebook back up right now.
Yeah, that's weird, man. Facebook has been having issues lately. We saw that. Oh, Instagram's still up, too.
Instagram's up.
Instagram and YouTube is up, but Facebook is down. So amberjack season is a big question mark to answer the question. Unfortunately, we're just not quite sure what's going on amberjack season wise, but they should be making a finalized gag season announcement, like I said, in the next week or two, and then very shortly thereafter they're going to start working on that amberjack season and finalizing that. So we'll see. I don't know. If you're texting us saying that the show is down on Facebook, we're aware, we're trying to work on it, but you can watch on YouTube. YouTube and Instagram are both still up. All right, with that, amberjack season, also triggerfish, remember, are open all year except for January, February, June, and July. The only other species that has a season, remember, red grouper is open all year now, so we only have red snapper, amberjack, triggerfish, and then gag grouper, which we already talked about as well. So those are the seasons. Those are the 4 fish. So hopefully we'll have a good gag season announcement, maybe a little bit of amberjack season. We know we got 3.5 months of red snapper fun. We'll see what else happens. Next question, are circle hooks mandatory on your trips? Remember, we don't have rules on circle hooks. The rules on circle hooks are only in the Gulf. So if you're fishing in the Gulf with natural bait, dead bait, live bait, you have to use a circle hook. Non-stainless, non-offset circle hook. But you can use whatever hook you want. Just remember, the rule is non-stainless, non-offset circle hook. So we have to tell you the rule. That's kind of our rule. For those people, I guess the people who are commenting what happened to the live, I can say that we're live on YouTube, but they're not going to hear us because they're not live on YouTube, or they wouldn't be commenting that the show is down. So I guess we maybe have to comment back to them, Josh. Hey, check in on YouTube if you can. All right, so let's see here. How deep are you fishing for the red snapper? We're fishing about anywhere from 120 to 140 foot of water to start, but really the best area for us has been most productively about 160 to 200 foot for the red snapper. We start fishing a lot of times around 120 to 160 for the mangroves, the yellowtail, that kind of thing. But we are definitely seeing more of the red snapper as we get deeper. So kind of starting the night out on our 39-hour trips in that 120 to 160 area, hunting the mangroves, the yellowtails, the vermilions, the porgies, and then during the day we're pushing a little deeper and trying to get after those red snapper in those deep water areas, and definitely doing pretty well, enjoying it, catching a lot of fish. Like I said, definitely making things happen. Are you still assigned a spot on light load trips, or can you fish from different areas of the boat? On all our trips, you're assigned a spot when you make a reservation, but you can move around. If it's a light load, there's not a lot of people on the boat. What I always tell folks is when you start fishing, you can move. You can't go moving around the boat the whole trip, but if you have a lighter load and there's generally, like for example, if we have 20 people on the boat, you're going to have 20 people scheduled, but you're going to have probably 18 of those people on the back fifth of the boat. So unfortunately, the people on the back get really crammed in there because everybody wants to try to fish the back for some reason, and the sides will generally be wide open. So we tell people when we start fishing, you can spread out a little bit. You can't make someone else move, off the back to give you more room, but you could choose to get off the back and go up the side and find an open spot. You just can't encroach on someone's fishing spot that they have booked. But you can definitely move when we first start fishing. You can't go moving around the boat all day. Like if you see this person catch a fish, you can't go up and sit by them and fish next to them. But you can move at that very beginning area and get yourself some more elbow room. So you still have assigned spots, but we are flexible on those lighter load trips. How deep are you fishing for red snapper on the 12-hour trips? Pretty much the same, about 140 to 160 is generally about the starting area, and then we'll fish up to about 180 or so. So that's kind of the go-to that we've been hammering. Josh, let's just keep going, because if we're having problems now, we'll have more problems, and we might as well just continue and try to text everybody to go over to YouTube if we can. Do you have an opportunity for my 12-year-old son to get some volunteer hours? We don't have anything specific for volunteer hours, but we work with a lot of groups, a lot of nonprofit groups. One I would recommend is maybe the Trash Pirates in Madeira Beach, which is marine debris cleanup. You have the Ghost Trap Rodeo, Ocean Aid 360. There's a bunch of different marine debris related organizations out there where you can go pick up trash or marine debris, and that would probably qualify for those community service hours you're looking for. What is the full capacity of the boat? The boat we go out on is licensed for over 110 passengers for the 10-hour trips. For the 39 and 44-hour trips, the boat's got a capacity of over 120 passengers, but we limit the Florida fishermen to only 60 people on a 10-hour, 65 on a half day, and up to 50 on a 39-hour trip. But, I mean, super light loads come August, and pretty light loads even in July, too. So if you've got 25 people on the boat, boat's licensed for 120, it's got 78 rod holders, we only allow up to 50, and we've got 25, that is crazy light, lots of room. All right, next question, what do we got? Who won the 10-hour? Tom did, and he's already responded. Can you request to be moved if smoke is an issue? Yeah, you can always talk to the crew if you're having a problem on the boat. If someone is smoking around you and it's bothering you, talk to the crew off to the side, and we'll try to do the best we can. If you're sensitive to smoke, I always recommend the bow, because remember, we always anchor into the wind. So that is going to be your smoke-free area fishing on the bow. It's going to be more room, more elbow room, and it's going to be smoke. Unlike our 5-hour trips, our family-friendly trips, we always are a little bit more strict, and we tell people, hey, you got to wait till the engines are on and the boat's moving to smoke, and you got to smoke at the back of the boat and fully extinguish that cigarette and throw it in a trash can. 10-hour trips, we're pretty strict about that, but a little bit more relaxed. Longer range trips, the more advanced angler trips, the 39 hours and such, we're much more relaxed, because a lot of times there's more people on the 39-hour trips that are actually smokers compared to non-smokers. So just a little different. Let's see what else we got. Richard Hardcore, appreciate the super on YouTube there. What to pack for a Friday 12-hour trip? I would make sure that you're packing similar to a 10-hour trip. I'd bring a 4/0 reel with like 30 or 40 pound, and be fishing probably a double, maybe 4 to 5/0 hooks and a small chunk of thread fin. Definitely a good go-to. And then if the bite's a little bit slow, I might drop down to like a 4,000 or 5,000 series spinning reel with 20-30 pound test and maybe a 30-pound leader and maybe some smaller hooks like a 4/0 double snell with maybe a smaller chunk of thread fin, or a live shrimp would be a good option, or even squid if you want to go that route too. So all good options. And as far as what to pack for the 12-hour night snapper trip, you'd pack similar to the 10-hour trip. You could bring some snacks, drinks. Just remember, no guns, drugs, glass, or alcohol. All right, what else we got? What about that Weston one? I plan on surf fishing at the end of July with water temps being high and still hot. My targets are pompano, whiting, snook, and tarpon. Definitely good opportunities there. Pompano's been a little soft. Should be a ton of whiting that time. Tarpon on the beach from shore is a little bit challenging, but if you know what you're doing and you get lucky, you could have a shot. There's some guys catching tarpon, hooking up with tarpon from John's Pass. Our buddy John Sasser hooked up with a nice one the other day. A couple of his buddies have hooked up, and even a few have been landed from around the John's Pass Bridge. Snook are super thick. I would recommend going back a few shows ago. We had Scott Sadorf on the show, and you can find it on YouTube. It got cut off short on Facebook too. I don't know what's going on with Facebook, but that was a killer episode, and he gave out snook fishing secrets from the beach. It was pretty cool. I understand spinning setups aren't ideal for the 12-hour stream. If I bring an 8,000 size spinning setup for flatline bottom fishing, would the crew have an issue with it? The problem is, even if you brought a 20,000 spinning reel, the biggest spinning reel they make with 150 pounds of drag, they don't make that, but I'm being facetious. It doesn't matter because of the physics, right? When you're using a spinning reel and you're fighting a fish, they have higher gear ratios. So the higher the gear ratio, the lower the torque. So you don't have a lot of power with a spinning reel because of that gear ratio. Then also, the way you hold a spinning reel, you're fighting that fish with one arm. You've got no leverage. With a conventional reel, you've got the butt of the rod underneath your right arm, you got your left hand in front of the reel, you got your right hand on the reel. You're using your entire upper body as a lever to fight that fish. So a $200 conventional reel is going to be far superior for bottom fishing compared to a $1,200 spinning reel, because that $200 conventional reel has more leverage. So really, really, really important to consider that when bottom fishing. If you want to bring a spinning reel for some flatline fishing, or if the bite's slow, some super light tackle fishing with small chunks of bait, that would definitely be a good opportunity or a good option. But dropping down a big dead bait or a pinfish on a spinning reel is going to waste your time. It's going to make you angry. It's going to tangle up people around you. You might get lucky and land the fish, but you're going to get tangled, and you're probably going to lose the fish, and it's going to just make it for a negative experience. So don't drop down big baits, big leads, or big spinning reels. Keep them small, stick to the light tackle, or bring a big spinning reel to use for a flat line or a pitch rod. But you're asking for problems if you're using a spinning reel for bottom fishing with big baits. Do you guys really use relentless knives to clean fish daily? Are they worth the money? Not all of our guys. So knives are really personal preference. We got a lot of those relentless knives, and I passed them out to our crew. Some of our crew just are not that responsible and ended up leaving them around, so I recollected them and rehomed them. But some crew used them and didn't necessarily like them because everybody's got their favorite blade, right? Some people like a long straight blade, some people like a small curved blade, some people like flexible blades, some people like thinner blades, some people like wider blades. It's kind of personal preference and what you've been used to using. So the relentless knives come in 5 great models, but they are still somewhat limited, right? So they don't have a knife for everyone. If you're used to a certain style of knife, they might not have that style of knife, which makes it difficult to make the switch. Those who like that style of knife love them, and they work really well. They do stay really sharp. We had one on our bait cutting station for like a year and a half. It never got dull. It never rusted. It was still a really great, clean looking knife until, unfortunately, it walked away. Unfortunately, but definitely was impressive that it was able to sit back there for more than a year and not get rusted. I've never seen that in my life. So they are worth the money if you like that style of knife, that style of blade. Highly recommend. Incredible feel, incredible balance. And they're coming out with more models, so I look forward to seeing some new models at ICAST. which we'll keep an eye out for. All right, what else we got? What other questions do we have? Should I have my own equipment for the 12-hour extreme, or is the rental enough? You can rent a rod and reel, and the 12-hour extreme rod rental will get the job done. If you have your own tackle, always recommend bringing that. But if you don't have the right tackle, then stick to the rod rental. So it's kind of hard to say if you should bring your own gear, or if you should rent a rod and reel without knowing what kind of gear you have. So if you could provide some insight to what you currently have, then we could kind of help you out a little bit more. Or you could give me a call this week and we can work with you that way too. Is a 50-pound mono top shot with 60-pound braid a decent setup for big reds, gags, and amberjack? No. It would be really good for red snapper, but if you've got your red snapper rod and reel setup is not going to ever be your gag group or amberjack setup. At least not mine, right? I'm going to have a rod with 60-pound test, maybe 60 or 80-pound leader for my red snapper. And then I'm going to have a rod with 80 or 100-pound test and 100 or 125-pound leader for gags and amberjack, with a much bigger reel, much beefier, much heavier drag, much lower gear ratio. Red snapper, I want that like Daiwa Saltiga LD50 with 40 pounds of drag, whereas a gag or an amberjack, I want like that LD60 with 50 pounds of drag, much bigger, beefier reel that I wouldn't want to fish with all day for smaller snapper species. So it's definitely a little bit different. Is that a gas pump you're putting in? No, it's a diesel pump. And our diesel pump on our dock was destroyed from Hurricane Helene, so we're putting in a new diesel pump to replace it. This September, what's your go-to bait for the fish finder rig? All year round, baby. Thread fin plugs. Cut the head, cut the tail, trim the belly, get you a nice rectangular chunk, put that on a double snell. That is definitely the best go-to option for... can you send him a link to the new show too? Because he's talking about Facebook, so he might not be able to watch us right now. But definitely the go-to all year round is the thread fin plug on a double snell rig, because you're going to have your best opportunity to catch the most amount of fish that way. And then if you see some bigger fish coming up, I might crank that up, hook it up, and then I might grab another rod with some heavier drag, bigger line, single hook, and drop down a live bait or a big dead bait. Or if the bite's slow and I'm not catching fish, I might grab a different rod with some lighter tackle, smaller hooks, and maybe change to a smaller chunk of thread fin or a live shrimp. All right, what else we got? Anything else, Josh? I'm booked for a stern seat, which state does not have a trolling rod holder. Does this mean I'm unable to troll? So remember, you don't need a stern spot to troll. If you're booked on the bow, you can still troll. If you're booked on the sides, you can still troll. It's just the people along the stern with trolling spots have the opportunity to troll first. If they choose not to troll, then someone who's on the bow or on the sides or somewhere else on the boat who wants to troll can use that spot. Remember, your spot assignments are for bottom fishing. It's not a trolling trip. You can troll on the way out, but that's on your own decision, left up to your own devices. So the crew's not always available to kind of wait with you for trolling. So if you have the itch to troll, just know that you have to kind of play it by ear and then work with people around you to make it happen. The Nomad DTX plug, the Rapala X-Wrap lures are all good options once you're more than 25-30 miles offshore. The first 25-30 miles, doing a planer and spoon is probably your best bet. On the 39-hour trip, can you use a descending device instead of a venting tool? Yes, you can bring a descending device if you want. You can descend all your fish. It's up to you. If you are an experienced angler, a venting tool done properly in the right way, in the right place, quickly can be as effective. But if you're not really good at venting, descending is probably going to be healthier for the fish. So it's kind of personal preference. But I'm really, really well practiced and good with a venting tool, so I prefer to vent fish because I can get them up quick, off the hook quick, vented quick, and back in the water quickly. I'm not as experienced with the descending device, so I'm actually keeping that fish out of the water longer if I use a descending device, which is unhealthier for the fish. So the time at zero, the time at surface, is going to be exponentially detrimental to the fish. So you want to decrease the amount of time on the surface as much as you can. So that's why I like venting, because I'm quick and I can get that fish back in the water quick. But if you get good with a descending device, you're not putting an extra hole in the fish. It's really easy to do. And yeah, descending device is actually, in a lot of cases, scientifically proved more effective for fish, especially for average Joe angler. Going out on the 12-hour full moon trip Friday, any predictions on the current and how much weight would be needed? Not seeing a lot of big current, especially in that 120, 110, 120 foot area on the 12-hour night snapper trip. So I would probably suggest doing about 4 to 6 ounces of weight. Go back to that other one up for me. That one. So this person said, I want to take a charter fishing trip, but it's just me and my boyfriend. Can you connect us with other people that love private charter split trips so we can split the cost 6 ways? We don't do split charter trips like that, but we do have the 12-hour extreme trip, which is a private charter 12-hour trip. So it's a split charter trip. So you don't have to go through that rigmarole of trying to find other people and split the cost of a charter. Book a 12-hour extreme trip. It is a split charter. You're splitting the cost of a 12-hour private charter on the Flying Hub 2, a private charter boat, with 16 other people. We only take up to 16. That boat, plenty fishable with 16 people. And come August, a lot of those trips don't even have 16 people on them. So some really good opportunities to get out there, and that's a split charter style trip. All right. Well, let's see here. Does that work?
It'll work for who was ever in the show.
Yeah, so we'll do that, and then we'll announce it. If they're watching on YouTube, they can still text us. If they're not watching on YouTube, we'll announce it next week. All right, so we're going to do a giveaway. We did our 10-hour giveaway already. Let's go ahead and do the 5-hour giveaway. For one lucky winner, 2 guests, 5-hour half day for 2 goes to David Amato from Pompano Beach. Congratulations. If you're watching on YouTube, you got 5 minutes or less to text us. If you don't, we'll announce this next week and give him another chance to claim it next week as well. All right. Let's see, what other questions do we have here? What style of circle hook has the best hookup performance? So you can't use it has to be non-stainless, non-offset. So it doesn't really give you any other options. So I like the owner hooks, the Gamakatsu hooks. Definitely works pretty well. Any tips on proper cut bait hooking? You want to make sure the barb of the hook is exposed. So some people try to bury the hooks in the bait. That doesn't work. You want to bring the hook all the way through the bait to make sure the barb is exposed on the other side. Really important to have that barb exposed, so that way you have a better chance of hooking the fish. How do you weed through all the gray snapper when fishing near shore from mangroves or hogfish? Persistence. There's only one thing you can do, and that's to hook them. You can hook them, reel them up, and release them. You can hook them, reel them up, and throw them in the cooler. But they are super, super, super aggressive, and it's hard to weed through them unless you catch them and keep them or catch them and release them. Or chum. Chumming works really well, too, because then you'll fill them up, and once they're filled up and full, they'll stop biting. You guys, do you know why we are catching fish here in the Big Bend on the flats that you only normally catch in South Florida? Started out with snook, and now we're catching barracuda. That's crazy, catching barracuda in the Big Bend. Sea surface temperatures. We're definitely seeing higher sea surface temperatures in the Gulf further north than ever before. That's why the snook have moved. They're catching snook in Alabama, which is crazy. Normally, snook only went up to like Tampa Now they have a huge population of snook in Crystal River. They're seeing a lot of snook in the Big Bend and all the way through the Panhandle. Our buddies in Destin are seeing some snook occasionally, which is crazy. So higher sea surface temperatures. I went out on the 39-hour trip last week. It was a life experience, and I plan to do it again.
That's who actually won the 5-hour?
Yeah, that is true. Well, hopefully he'll watch next week if he doesn't text us back. Let's see, what other questions do we have? Someone said something about a chicken rig. That's a good question. When gags open, any idea on bag limits? So gag bag limits are 2 fish per person per day. That's the rule on the books. At the April council meeting, they asked for an emergency rule to make it 1 gag per person for this September 2025 season. But it sounds like there's not going to be a possibility for that rule to be in place. So if they don't see that rule in place, then that means we're going to have 2 gags per person per day like we're supposed to get. So seems pretty probable we'll probably have 2 gags per person per day. 12-hour extreme trip is $3.99. It gives you about 7 to 8 hours fishing time. It's 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we head out there at 5 a.m. Normally you're fishing by 7:30, and you get a solid 7 to 8 hours fishing time. About a 2.5-3 hour ride out on average. No, 2 to 2.5 hour ride out on average. Is a Penn Senator 4-aught a good all-around reel with 40-pound line for snapper and grouper? It's a good all-around reel, but it's a little small for some of those bigger fish. Gag, grouper, amberjack, way too small. But for most fish, like on a 10-hour trip, that's great. Great all around. 12-hour extreme trip, it's a little small. 39-hour, it's a little small. It would be my smaller setup that I'd bring. Maybe have 40-pound, 50-pound leader. I'd use that for like mangrove snapper, and then I'd have a little bit bigger reel, 60-80-pound test, maybe a 45-pound drag for the bigger fish. What is the policy when lightning starts to surround the boat? Hold on. Go inside. Unfortunately, it is the state of Florida. We get surrounded by storms, and you don't always know when it's going to happen. So all we can do is use our radars on the boat and try to avoid storms when possible. If they're unavoidable, try to push through them, or if it's really, really nasty, sometimes you have to just stay anchored up and wait for them to pass. And all we can do is try to be as safe as possible by protecting our guests and doing the best we can. But storms are somewhat unavoidable. We guarantee an excellent client experience with superior guest service, but we do not control the weather, and we cannot make fish bite. All we have to do, or all we can do, is work with the Mother Nature and try to provide the best possible experience, and use our forecasts and our knowledge and our experience to try to pick and choose the best days. Any update on the walkway that was torn up by the pass? Remember that? The city manager decided to just tear up that sidewalk on the north jetty of Johns Pass, and then people emailed, and he was like, oh, it's just under construction. We'll have it built in 9 months or less, or whatever. I think he said like 6 months or less. That was his email response to people who reached out upset. They said the other day in a public meeting that it would probably be like 2.5 years before they get that, if they get the permit to rebuild that. So, yeah, Robin Gomez, the city manager of Madeira Beach, is a total incompetent fool. I cannot believe he did that without any public input, without any advice or input from the mayor. I can't believe he still has a job. But that's government for you, baby. You can make a total fool of yourself and pull a total kerfuffle and make a irreversible mistake and mar the city's reputation and cost the taxpayers countless thousands of dollars, and you keep your job. It's mind-boggling to me.
Sounds like I'm in the wrong business.
I know. I need to get a city manager job. He gets paid crazy well too, man. And during the hurricane, his house got destroyed. Man, he's been living at City Hall in a nice, cushy setup. It's crazy, dude. crazy. It makes me so angry. My blood boils. How much harm he has done to our city. It's crazy.
Moving into the lighthouse.
It's nuts. Let's see here. Do you give away rods at OCC Roadhouse? Yes, we give away custom bull bay rods at OCC Roadhouse. Our next OCC Roadhouse event is July 22nd from 7 to 9 p.m. July 22nd. Remember, every fourth Tuesday of every month. Do you sell Hubbard's Marina bull bay rods in your shop? Yes, we do. When is the next time you're going to do a trip raffle for the gift shop? Normally we do those during events. We need to have another event. Also, city manager of Madeira Beach, Robin Gomez, canceled Final Friday. He said, and I quote, "If it ever comes to a time where caddies can't sponsor Final Friday, the city will take it on." Well, he lied and canceled Final Friday when it came time for caddies to say, hey, we can't do this because caddies got destroyed. So another really cool thing the city manager did was cancel Final Friday events. Hello from Sand Key. How deep for black grouper? So true black grouper are something you can catch off our coast, but we don't see a ton of them. We don't catch a lot of them. It's one of those things, we catch them every now and again. And I've seen them as shallow as 80 to 100 foot. I've seen them as deep as 400 foot. So you never know. Have you seen the picture of the carbon fiber rod that get hit by lightning? Yes. Seen it, scared by it, and lightning is not cool. All we can do is do the best we can to, again, be as safe as possible. What drag do you recommend on the 12-hour stream? If you were bringing one rod and reel on the 12-hour stream, I would bring at least 40 pounds of drag. Daiwa LD50, Saltiga LD50 2-speed is what I like for the 12-hour stream. Kind of a good all-around setup. At least 40 pounds of drag, though. Probably 60-pound main line, 60, 80-pound leader. 6 and 8 ounce egg sinkers. Let's see. I have access to blue crabs for bait. Would using a half a blue crab be a good bait for a 10-hour trip? You could try it. Red grouper love crabs. Some of the biggest red grouper I've seen caught were on crabs. So crabs work well for red grouper. They like them. They're crustacean eaters. Small blue crab, you might even see a hogfish, really big hogfish. Let's see. What else do we got? Oh, someone sent a photo of a true black grouper. Wonder how deep he caught that. Oh, that was the guy who asked. Let's see. I have a question. I'm watching your podcast. How do I win free fishing trips? We talked about that in the beginning. All you have to do is comment once on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream, which is kind of silly tonight because Facebook crashed on us, unfortunately. I don't know what's up with Facebook, man. It's very hit and miss. YouTube is so solid. We should just do live shows only on YouTube. We could. But the problem is a lot of people have Facebook too, right? So, but I feel like people are going to start to get the hint that maybe you should just watch on YouTube, comment on Facebook once to enter to win the live stream, and then if Facebook crashes, you can still watch on YouTube. Plus, a lot of people like watching on YouTube because they can put it on their smart TV at home. You know?
Yeah.
You're looking at me crazy, like I'm crazy.
I'll talk to you after.
Now he's ignoring me. All right, do we have another question?
We have one over here.
We do. Going out Friday on the night trip, any tips you'd recommend? I would recommend talking to the crew, asking questions, look around for people on the boat who seem to know what they're doing, talk to them. When I was a kid on the 39-hour trip, I was blessed because I knew the galley cook. So I would talk Tammy into letting me, or I guess I can't really say this. I would somehow procure, no, I have to be, let's just say a friend would give them beer and then they would talk to me. And I would get people who knew what they were doing, who were experienced, to talk to a little kid and give me advice, and I'd be able to chat with them. Some of my best memories on the 39-hour trip at a young age are sitting there on the stairs on the ride out, talking to people like Jighead Ed. May he rest in peace. He was one of the greatest fishermen that we have on our 39-hour trips. Guys like John Martin, Danny. We have so many really experienced anglers. Tim Duncan. And Tim Duncan's a guy you don't have to buy a beer. You just go talk to that dude. He's like the nicest guy ever, and he will sit there and he will help you. Guys like Jeff Reedy. We have plenty of ladies too. Estelle, Carrie, Scott. We have so many guests that fish with us often that are very experienced anglers who really care and are willing to talk to people. But you got to start that conversation up, right? So if you're open-minded, you're willing to ask some questions, the coolest part about party boat fishing is meeting people from other walks of life and other fisheries, other styles of fishing, and you get to pick up things. I mean, it's so interesting. Even on tough days, you get to see other people get hooked on fishing, or you see someone who's already hooked on fishing who might have a tip or a trick that they're doing that day that might be catching the fish, and maybe you're struggling a little bit, and you can talk to this person and you can learn a new style of jigging or a new hook or a new line-to-line knot that works really well. Just, you have so many opportunities on these trips to learn. If it's your first time, if you don't go a lot, go into that trip with the acknowledgement and the expectation that the learning curve is steep. If it's your first time, don't go out there with the expectation to come home with a huge stringer of trophy-sized fish. Go out there with the expectation that you're going to learn a few things, catch a few fish, meet some friends, and you're going to come out of it with a plethora of knowledge and experience. So that second trip, that learning curve will be steeper and you're going to catch more fish. You're going to get some more friends. You're going to earn some more tips. Third trip, that learning curve is going to flatten out and you're going to start to catch more fish. If you want to flatten the learning curve and catch more fish more quickly, my grandfather always used to say, shut up and listen. You got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. And it's so true on a party boat. You look around and you see who's doing what, who's catching what they're doing. And if you're paying attention, you're observant, you're willing to ask questions and lower that ego and just be there to learn, man, you can learn a lot of stuff really fast. It's pretty fun. And that's what's cool about party boat fishing, in my opinion. Set me down a nostalgic path there, guys. All right. Do we have anything else? Another question? Josh is like, it's 8:30, dude.
8:34.
We got to have one more question. What do you think about salting your bait? That is less important now because we do brine our own baits now. So we catch fresh bait, we brine it in the back of the boat, and we have a brine barrel already set up. So it's definitely a little less important. Salting your bait really helps on longer trips, 39, 44-hour trips. The day trips doesn't really help as much because you don't really have time to get that brine going. So really, it's all about getting that brine going early, getting that bait nice and seasoned, and it works a lot better that way. So if you don't have the time to brine your bait, then it doesn't really work as well. I covered all our announcements. Again, hopefully we'll see you at OCC Roadhouse July 22nd as well. Do you provide salt to brine bait? No. You got to bring a small cooler, like a 6-pack cooler, and a big old package of salt. It's like 89 cents at the Publix, local Publix. So grab you a big old thing of salt and a small 6-pack cooler, and you'll be ready to brine some bait. And if you're on a day trip, a 10 or 12-hour trip, get you some bait ahead of time and brine bait. Bring a cooler of brine bait. You really need 8 to 10 hours of that sitting in a really salty solution. If it's already frozen bait, you don't need ice. Just put the frozen bait in the cooler, a little bit of salt water, a ton of salt, and get that stuff marinating, and it'll be nice and ready after about 8 to 10 hours. That's what's cool about a 39-hour trip. You get that brine going, and you put it underneath the bench where you're fishing. By the time you start fishing, 7, 8, 9 hours later, that brine's ready to rock and roll. And then by midday the next day, it's been sitting there for almost 24 hours, and it's ready to rock and roll. That's why brining bait's more important on those 39 and 44 hour trips, because after 24, 36 hours, that bait gets real nasty. But if you got it in a really nice cold brine, it's going to stay nice. All right. Supporter show, Josh. What time, buddy? 45 or 40? Can you say it? 8:50. Supporter show is at 8:50. So we are going to do a supporters after show on Facebook. Hopefully it will let us in our private supporters group at 8:50. If you're not in the supporters group, remember it's only $4.99 a month. You can subscribe right on the top of our Facebook page at Hubbard's Marina to join that supporters club. It gives you private access to our private after show every week, and also private access to our private group where there's a little bit more communication, behind the scenes info, and advance notice on things. Now, we've given away the 5-hour half day for 2, 10-hour all day for 2. It's time to give away that 39-hour trip to one lucky winner. Remember, this is brought to you by our friends over at Innovative Pools and Spa. Innovative Pools and Spa brings you 35 years of experience building pools in the Tampa Bay area, and they're celebrating the legacy of their father's company, which was recognized as a top pool builder in the area for over 3 decades. Plus, they continue to raise the bar on pool construction, design, and features. They have an unparalleled passion for the industry. Call them today at 727-788-1650 or visit them online at innovativepoolsandspa.net to find out why Innovative Pools and Spa is a top choice for families in our community. All right, with that, let's see who won the 39-hour fishing trip for one lucky winner. And don't forget to tune in next week, 7:30 p.m. and every Sunday night at 7:30 p.m. for our live stream show. All right, lucky winner of the 39-hour trip for one is... Remember, every Sunday night, 7:30 p.m. If you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. Hopefully we'll see you sometime soon at Hubbard's Marina for some fishing, some dolphin tours, some island trips, some shelling trips, sunset cruises. We do eco tours. We've got tons of private charters too. So come out and see us, and hopefully we'll see you on the water sometime soon. And hopefully we'll see you next week for another episode. Tight lines, everybody. We're out.